what if I told you that instead of setting up a green screen, you can just click a button into script and get the same...
The word incel has gotten more and more well known. It is especially prevalent in these modern times where the internet is virtually inescapable. With people being able to share their opinions and worldviews with other people all around the world, it is no surprise that certain ideologies have gotten more and more exposure, and the voices of those who are a part of these groups have gotten louder and louder. Some people who were a part of these incel communities have ended up committing acts of mass murder, and that is exactly what I will be talking about in this video. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. The word incel, meaning involuntarily celibate, was first used in the early 1990s when a Canadian woman named Elena created an online community with the name Elena's Involuntarily Celibacy Project. This community started off as a support group for people who were genuinely struggling with finding romantic partners, despite desiring them, and was aimed to offering support and encouragement to people who were struggling in that part of life. But obviously nowadays incels are more frequently not really associated with support, encouragement, or the willingness to learn, but are mainly echo chambers that exist as forums where mostly single, lonely young men can vent out their frustrations over the world, society, and especially women. Although pretty much all incels are mainly just lonely people who really don't socialize much, there have been a few cases of incel beliefs being major motives in mass murder cases. I will be looking into 5 individuals who killed in the name of inceldom: Elliot Rodger, Jake Davison, Alec Manassian, Christopher Mercer, and George Sodini. And also, since I am covering multiple people, I won't really be able to go too in-depth on each individual, but I am planning on making a separate video on each of these people in the future, so stay tuned. This will be a part of my Deadly Minds series where I focus on one case at a time and research it to a greater extent. Okay, with all that being said, let's talk about some incels who have committed mass murder. Ah yes, we are starting with the Supreme Gentleman first. I would actually argue that Elliot Rodger is an individual who really brought the term incel to a mainstream audience. Elliot Rodger was born on July 24, 1999, into quite a wealthy family. His father Peter Rodger was a director, filmmaker, and a photographer who is mostly known for his work on the Hunger Games, where he was the assistant director. Peter is British, and Elliot was born in London, England, but he and his family would move to LA when Elliot was only 5 years old, due to the family wanting Peter to further advance in his career. Elliot is also part Asian, since his mother Lee Chin is of Malaysian descent. Elliot also had 2 siblings, a brother Jas and also a sister Georgia. Elliot lived quite a privileged life, since his dad was wealthy. He had good education, always rode first class on every plane ride, always had expensive branded clothes on, $300 Armani sunglasses, and was also gifted a $30,000 BMW, who he took quite a lot of pictures in. He was also able to meet a lot of celebrities due to his father's occupation, and just in general had a very nice life growing up. But if you took a look at his now mostly deleted social medias, you would not think that was the case. His YouTube channel, for instance, which had actually been terminated quite a while back, spoke of a socially isolated and frustrated young man who felt like life was unfair to him just because he couldn't get laid. And also in his videos, he vented out all the anger and frustration about other sexually successful men, couples, and particularly women, whom he would call bitches, whores, sluts, etc.
Hey, Elliot Rodger here. Today I'm at Sarania Park. I just took a nice long hike up in those hills. I would say this is one of the most significant places of my life. I grew up here. My parents used to always take me here when I was a kid. Back when my life was happy and fair. Back when I thought the world was fair. How naive I was. I was only an innocent child. And now, here I am. After living a horrible, unjust life. A wasted youth, deprived of any any sort of fun or enjoyment or pleasure, all because females were never attracted to me. Right now I'm wearing my Hugo Boss shirt. It's one of my favorite button-down shirts. This is a shirt I wore to the premiere of The Hunger Games. I look fabulous. And yeah, I did walk on the red carpet on that premiere. It was quite an experience indeed.
There are 15 new jobs added to Indeed every second. So how do you sift through so many jobs to find the right one for you? Do you want a remote job? Are you only interested in a specific work schedule?
But obviously, just because your material needs are sufficed does not mean that mentally everything will be okay. And that was the case with Elliot, since he struggled with mental health pretty much all of his life. He was in therapy from a very young age and also received treatment throughout his life. As a child, he struggled to make friends and would also cry in front of crowds. He preferred information to be written down instead of spoken. At age 15, Elliot was prescribed Xanax and Prozac, but he would stop taking the medication around a year after the prescription. Elliot struggled with social skills and wanted help, so he sought after 3 counselors and would also attend 29 therapy sessions between May 2013 and May 2014. He would also meet with Gavin Linderman, a life coach, to whom he would also end up sending his manifesto the night of the killings. Yes, Elliot wrote a manifesto, which he called My Twisted World, the story of Elliot Rodger. In this manifesto, he detailed his entire life from beginning to end, and talked about all of his struggles with dating and social life, and particularly his hatred towards women for simply rejecting him. It's honestly not too bad of a read, so I would suggest reading his manifesto if you're interested in the psychology and history behind him. Okay, so now that we have talked about Elliot and his life a bit, it is time to talk about May 23rd, 2014, otherwise known as the Isla Vista killings. As his attack was getting closer and closer, Elliot posted his final video, Day of Retribution, where he talked about him wanting revenge against humanity, and particularly women for rejecting him. His original date for the attack was meant to be May 24th, but he accidentally posted his video a day before, so he needed to perform his shooting rampage a day earlier than planned. He would take Xanax and benzos on the day of the attack, since he was beginning to get quite nervous, and wanted to alleviate his anxiety. In the weeks leading up to his attack, he would drive around Santa Barbara and go to the nearby beaches and woodland areas to just take it all in for one last time and enjoy his last few weeks alive. He would also visit Starbucks one last time a few hours before his attack. On the day of the massacre, he would search up pornography and also various topics dealing with knives. And why knives? Well, before the shooting, he would end up stabbing to death his 2 roommates and also another student who wanted to visit them. Their names were George Chen, Wei Han Wang, and Chen Wang Hong. After killing them and washing himself up, he would take his legally purchased semi-automatic pistols and put them in his car. He would end up driving around Isla Vista and would start sporadically shooting and running over everyone he saw, either on the sidewalk, in cafes, restaurants, etc. He actually didn't want to do this, since his original plan was to first kill his sibling and stepmother, whom he disliked, before going to the Alpha Phi sorority and shooting it up. He wanted to shoot this place up because it was filled with attractive blonde girls who he was very fond of and who rejected him and his advances, but the door ended up being locked so he couldn't get in. And by this point he knew his life was over and he decided to just take the plan B route, and at around 9:27 p.m. on May 23rd would end up driving around shooting and ramming into anyone he saw. 3 more people would end up dying, their names being Catherine Cooper, Christopher Ross, and Veronica Weiss. An additional 14 others would be injured, but they would end up surviving. The calls to police were beginning to flood in, and a chase would soon ensue. Elliot would end up shooting at the cops, and they would return fire, striking Elliot in his thigh. Now bleeding and hurt, Elliot would lose control of his BMW and crash. One last gunshot was heard at around 9:35 p.m., and that was Elliot putting his pistol against his temple and pulling the trigger, committing suicide. After the shooting, Elliot's father Peter would do an interview where he talked about Elliot and his thoughts on the shooting.
How are you? Every night I go to sleep. I wake up And I think of those young men and young women that have died, and were injured, and were terrorised. And my son did that. My son caused so much pain and suffering for so many families.
When you wake up in the morning, what do you think?
It's like a reverse nightmare situation. When you go to sleep normally, you have a nightmare and you wake up and, oh, everything's okay.
Yeah.
Now I go to sleep, I might have a nice dream. And then I wake up and then slowly the truth of what happened dawns on me. And, you know, that is that my son was a mass murderer.
You did not think that Elliot was suicidal, or certainly not homicide.
There's no way I thought that this boy could have to flee. I mean, this is the most unbelievable thing, Barbara. What I don't get is we didn't see this coming at all.
Did you know that he was sick?
No. This is the American horror story, or the world's horror story. It is when you have somebody who, on the outside, is one thing, and on the inside, is something completely different.
To be quite honest, the whole interview was just kind of weird to me. I don't know. There seems to be little to no emotions, and the whole vibe was just a bit weird. I mean, I don't know. I guess he must have also been going through a lot with his son being a mass killer, so I guess it is understandable. I am most likely going to do a full video on Elliot Rodger, since his story is just, I don't know, so interesting to me. But for now, let's just leave it at that and focus on the next individual, Jake Davison, otherwise known as the 2021 Plymouth shooter. It was a sunny afternoon on August 12, 2021, in Plymouth, England. Nobody knew it at the time, but a huge argument would happen at around 6 p.m. between 22-year-old Jake Davison and his mother Maxine. It got so bad that after Jake let go of his mother's throat at around 6:05 p.m., she went into her room and called her sister, who subsequently called the police. She had no idea that her son would grab his legally acquired Weatherby pump-action shotgun, storm into her room, and shoot her twice, killing her instantly. After killing his mom, Jake would grab additional ammo and start walking through the neighborhood area of his house. He would shoot at anyone he saw, and would end up killing an additional 4 people, whilst injuring 2 others. One of the victims was a 3-year-old girl and her father, who died trying to protect her. The shooting would last around 15 minutes, and after being confronted by police on Henderson Place, Jake would put the shotgun under his chin and pull the trigger, killing himself. It was noted that just before pulling the trigger, a witness saw no expression on his face. Mass shootings actually aren't that common in the UK, mostly due to the strict gun laws imposed after the 1996 Dunblane primary school shooting, where a 43-year-old Thomas Hamilton killed 17 people and injured an additional 15 others before committing suicide. After this shooting, several laws were passed that made it quite hard to legally acquire a firearm in the UK. But let's
why
get back
couldn't
to this
America
case.
be like that?
What was his motive?
Well, why can't America be like that? See how easy it was? How they just... One tragedy already made them fucking change the laws? It's been like a fucking 3,000 tragedies. That's just still not changing. I mean, hey. I don't know, bro.
Motive for the shooting. Well, as many other mass shooters, Jake dealt with a lot of mental health issues growing up, and received counseling and therapy. Treatment was actually hard to come by during the pandemic and lockdown, when getting mental health treatment for everybody was rather difficult. Jake had a shotgun license for quite a while, starting in 2017, but in December of 2020, it was taken away from him after he got into an altercation and beat up a teenager due to him constantly insulting Jake about his weight and calling him fat.
God damn, bro. You could get the hell out of here. I definitely gotta be a woman. Oh, I thought he fell.
The license was actually returned to him in July of 2021, so only a month before the shooting, and there were reviews and investigations about the whole process done after the shooting, sadly a little too late. Jake lived with his mother, and apart from her had very little social interactions. He dealt with extreme confidence issues and was socially isolated. He wasn't interested in academia since school wasn't really for him, and he didn't even do particularly well whilst in school. He worked a few jobs here and there, but he never really found his footing in one place. As he spent a lot of time by himself in his room, Jake was an avid user of the internet, particularly its dark and nihilistic places, such as incels.is, where he would interact with other people all around the world who had problems in the dating sphere, and where he would vent out his frustrations over women and complain about rejection to others. He was very active on other social medias as well, particularly Reddit and YouTube. On Reddit, he had an account under the username Jake3572, where he frequented subreddits such as r/virgin and r/incelexit. His Reddit account got suspended one day before the shooting after he messaged a 16-year-old female user for sex. Apart from Reddit, there was YouTube, where very similarly to Elliot Rodger, Jake would make videos talking about his struggles with women, and particularly the black pill ideology. For those unaware, the black pill is where you believe that no matter what you do, you will fail, and that there is not even a point in trying, since failure is inevitable, such as in the dating and romantic sphere. It is a nihilistic perspective on life, which Jake very much had. He was also an incel who frequented incel websites, forums, and message boards, as I mentioned earlier. Here is a clip from one of his videos talking about him being single and not finding love during his teenage years.
So, what is it you're holding? A cookie? You were chosen.
Well, I hate it when people say, oh, teenage love is overrated, you know. Here's the thing, they think girls that are virgins until they're older think, like, oh, we must, like, think it's some romantic movie or some, you know, teenage romance movie or something. Like, no, I don't think of it like that. But here's the reality. You can say what you want, oh, teenage relationships are fleeting. They only say that because teenage relationships are fleeting. The parental factor is usually bad. But here's the thing. When you're young, when you're fresh, and your hormones are raging, that's when you feel it most intensely. That's when, you know, you desire and love most strongly, you know. You know, when you get older, things, I don't know, maybe this is depression, anhedonia, I don't know, but it seems like things have just seem to numb more as an adult. You just seem more numb, more fed up with life, I guess you could say it, you know. And, you know, the reality is that, you know, love is for the young. You know, love is for the young. That's the fact of the matter. Love is for the young. You know? And I know I'm still somewhat young.
You know, I'm not gonna lie.
And I hope I can make up for it, but I have a feeling like I missed that boat and it's never coming back.
His YouTube name was Professor Waffle, which is very similarly to Wheat Waffles, who is quite a popular YouTuber in the manosphere. Now, although he didn't just target women, I think that his nihilistic black pill view on life had contributed to him committing this attack, along with also being an incel who hated life, and after killing his mother had essentially given up his life. He did not want to die in obscurity, but rather in infamy, so he decided to kill as many people as he possibly could, before eventually taking his own life. Now that this shooting is out of the way, it is time to discuss a case of an individual who had incel.
How about now? You can hear me? How about now? You can hear me? Shoot, I'll probably should ear rape this nigga. You can Yeah, this thing is like, oh shit. Can you hear me? Yo, I'm fucking. Hold on. Let me see if I'm not fucking with ears. That was good. I bet. Let me know if it's too loud. Let me know if it's too loud. Hold on. There we go. That should be good.
Police, it killed 11 people without firing a single
Damn, no wonder why that
and
one nigga
of
left.
course, it is
Wonder why
no other
Prince
than
left.
Alex Manasseh.
Damn, no wonder why.
Twitter of the
Well, we're
2018
damn, like, what's going on? Like, I can't get nobody.
2018.
Nah, I
5-year-old
damn.
Alex Manasseh made a
Go play
smiley face
Roblox. What you wanna play?
on which he said, "Private recruit Manasseh."
What we playing? Ronca, call me boom boom, call me boom boom. Si alguien que me ronca, call me boom boom, call me boom boom, call me boom boom. Oh shit, yo, what was that game I was playing? This one? Yo, hold on. I gotta do this. One world. Let's do this one world. Let's do this one world. I never played this world. I mean, not that I seen it, but I ain't seen this one. What the fuck? Oh, what is this? Me here now. I'm gonna play skateboard obby. It's fucking gay. Alright. Damn, I made no type of progress? I made progress though. Oh my god, bro, I hate when the fucking thing bangers. Oh, yo, you know, that shit scared me. I'm not gonna lie.